the old binder. I don't know what make it is. Albion, I guess, a little massive tractor. I'll let this bit is for them to cut. So they cut half it yesterday. I always remember my dad, you know, my dad's never really had a massive amount to do with farming or massive interest in farming really. None of my direct family have been really that interested in farming. It just happened to be me, and you know, I had a keen interest in it from an early age. One of my dad's earliest memories though was stacking the what they called the stooks, these little bunches, stacking them up like that behind the binder. That would have been in the 50s. I think it would have been in the very early 50s. And he remembers the horses were pulling the binder. There was a team of horses that pulled binder, and he would walk behind it. This is a PTO driven binder. The little sewing machine, isn't it? International, well, McCormick International Canada. And so from what I've heard, through information that I've seen, it's actually a very good nick, isn't it, really? Silas Hall McCormick, I think his name was the man who created in his workshop a binder, the first binder. And I think all it was the cutter and the sails, and they towed it along with a horse, and it was driven off the ground wheel. The big ground wheel there drove it along, and you trying to think now. Oh, there was a bloke who would have stood on the edge here. They didn't have all this lot, the first ones. They didn't have the mechanical buncher. Somebody stood on here behind. Oh look, his thingy's broken, look. One of his sails is broken. He would rake it off. I think actually, do you know what? They stood alongside and walked alongside, and they raked bunch along, and then somebody would come along and tie them. But then eventually somebody created a wire twister that would twist wire around it. But that wasn't favourable and didn't really sort of last long, because people didn't want the wire in the crop in case the beasts, cattle and sheep and whatever, would eat it and it would hurt them, kill them. So Appleby, I don't know what his first name was, the Appleby Knotter, which is funnily enough what Glass have. Their symbol is the knotter. It wasn't them that created it. But there you go, never mind. And yeah, so that was the development of the very early stages of what now we have a combine harvester. So this is obviously the front part of the combine, the header, and then obviously the threshing machine, and then somebody decided eventually to put them back together. And I have mentioned it before, but when you think it's quite amazing really that this, I think 1860s, something like that, 1850s, 1860s, 150 years ago, the first ones of these were coming out, the very primitive ones of these were coming out, and then threshing machines and that. And you think 150 years, and now we've got the likes of the Lexan 8000 series, which is just light years ahead of just crazy, stupid stuff that we don't really need. But whereas before that, in the 1800s, before it was done the same way for many years, like much longer than that period of 150 years. You're talking 10, 20, 30 times longer. And it's about the development of where we've got to now. And the scary thing is, if we could no longer sustain those vehicles, those machines, we wouldn't be able to, I don't know, but it would be very difficult for us to go back, because we've lost the brain power, the capacity. People have become lazy. Yeah, but there you go. I still love combines though, I really do. And I think they're amazing bits of kit and just really amazing, fascinating things. There you go. See you again.